see it. Well, hello and welcome to my live studio audience show. Here's what's on tonight. Well, the public have had enough, haven't they? And there are protests at 14 migrant hotels happening this evening, but...
It's not something I agree with, but I've been asked to do it. It's just to drop a leaflet about being involved in a protest.
Well, have the police been trying to intimidate some protesters? They turned up at their house and... I will reveal the most ridiculous asylum seeker non-deportation story yet. Seriously. Plus...
We will not raise tax on working people. No tax rises for income tax.
Hang on a second, I don't know. What did you guys hear there? What was it? Just because in case I'm getting a little bit mad. What did he say? What? No tax on working people. No more tax on working people. OK, all right. Well, he's going to do it, isn't he? Anyway, right. Also tonight, should football ditch all the woke guff like this? And...
Bro, is that hill, bro? Is that hill? Is that hill? I'll kill that hill. Yeah, you...
Is everyone a bit sick of having to deal with lunatics on public transport? I mean, honestly, it's every flipping day, isn't it? Anyway, we've got this on as well.
And I said, he's cheating. I stood up in the middle of the exam and I stood up and said, he's cheating, he's the one that's doing it. And that boy ended up getting expelled.
Kemi said that when she was at school, she snitched on someone and that boy got expelled. So hang on a minute, Kemi, are you a snitch?
You're about to grass, are you?
Sir?
There's one thing no one likes. It's a grass.
Well, there we go. And, of course, we couldn't let you go without discussing a little bit of this. Labour had a homelessness minister who might have made people homeless and a corruption minister facing corruption charges in Bangladesh, which she denies. Anyway, on the panel tonight, we've got former Conservative MP Jane Stevenson. We have got the Labour MP for Brent West, Barry Gardner. It's mixed. He'll win you round in the end. He'll win broadcasting royalty, Christo Foufas. There you go. That's more like it. And former spokesman for Reform UK, Gawain Towler. All right, then. Get ready, Britain. Here we go. One of our reporters was attacked at a migrant hotel protest. We'll bring you the latest. Stay tuned.
Very good evening to you. It's 9:03. Let's get you up to date with the headlines. A 15-year-old boy has been found guilty of murdering another student at a school in Sheffield. Harvey Wilgoose, who was also 15, died after being stabbed in the heart with a hunting knife during a lunch break at All Saints Catholic High School in February. The defendant, who cannot be named because of his age, admitted manslaughter but denied murder, saying he snapped after a long period of bullying and does not remember what happened. Israel's rejected international criticism of its plans to take control of Gaza City. Its defence minister, Israel Katz, has hit back at countries he says condemn Israel's actions and threaten sanctions. The proposal, which would displace around 1 million residents, is being seen as the first phase of a full takeover of the entire strip. Sir Keir Starmer says it will only bring more bloodshed. He says the plan's wrong and has urged the Israeli government to reconsider. Germany has suspended military exports to Israel, which Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister, says is rewarding terrorism. The UN has convened an emergency meeting of its Security Council tomorrow. Lawyers representing victims of sexual abuse in Rotherham have welcomed South Yorkshire Police stepping back from its investigation into the alleged crimes of former officers. The National Crime Agency has agreed to lead the inquiry into the allegations, which are being investigated by the force itself, leading to criticism over a conflict of interest. 5 women who were abused as children by Rotherham grooming gangs have claimed they were also raped by police officers. So far, 3 former officers who work for the force have been arrested. A 4-year-old boy who died after being hit by a bus outside a hospital in Kent has been named as Zahir Khan. He was hit by a white single-decker bus near the entrance to the A&E department on Thursday afternoon. He had been visiting his grandmother. Zahir was taken back inside the hospital where he was shortly pronounced dead. His family have set up a memorial area close to the building. And we're being told to watch out for the heat that is incoming for the start of next week. A yellow health alert has been issued. The warning from the UK Health Security Agency covers London, Yorkshire and the Humber, East Midlands, east of England and also the south and south east. It will be in place from midday on Monday until 6 p.m. on Wednesday. But if that weather remains fine, then perhaps you should get yourself down to the Bristol International Balloon Fiesta. It is underway as of this morning, the 4-day free event, the largest of its kind in Europe. Those are your latest headlines. I'll be back with more at 10.
Wow, good evening, everybody. Hello and welcome to my live studio audience. Thank you very, very much. Loads to get through tonight. And tonight there are protests taking place at 14 illegal migrant hotels right across the country. The public have had enough of the violence and sexual crimes committed by some asylum seekers in Britain. Locals are coming out in force in places like London, Essex, Birmingham, Leeds and Norwich. They're also doing it in Wolverhampton. But the local police force there sent 2 officers around to someone's house to give them a little warning before they turned up. Have a look at this.
It's not something I agree with, but I've been asked to do it. It's just to drop a leaflet about being involved in a protest. It sounds bad, but it is what it is.
Do me a favour. Take it back to them and
Yes,
write
mate.
back on it to them. Say, we will no longer be silenced and to off. From me, with love.
I mean, what I will say is, in a way, fair play to the police officer, because he said, I don't want to be here and I don't agree with what they've made me do, which I think is quite damning. I think if the police turn on this, then frankly it is game over for the government, isn't it? But there we go. Remarkable. The police officer didn't want to be there. You know, OK, we'll have to take our hats off to him. But I think it's probably made the bloke who was in that house even more angry than he already was. I, like everyone, hope everything goes peacefully. So far tonight, as far as we're aware, it has. But, I mean, police helping to escort hard left activists. That won't have helped, will it?
If these are locals, why are they getting in a police car? Why are they getting in police cars? Why don't they just go home if they're local?
And even local Labour Party groups have been advertising flyers for Stand Up to Racism counter-protests. So I think we can bring one of them up on the screen there. There you go, look at that. So that was the Farnham and Borden Labour Party. For your information, there you go. Stand Up to Racism, they've been advertising it. They have since deleted the tweet. I wonder why. Well, anyway, I can't help but wonder, though, do we think that disorder is, in some way now, just inevitable? And to the people at these counter-protests, waving their little placards and calling everyone Nazi scum, like this lady.
No wonder no one likes you.
Yeah, I just love that's brilliant, isn't it? That is brilliant. Anyway, I would just like to politely ask those people, what is it about the rape and sexual assault of local women and girls that you seem to be in favour of? And when it comes to the kind-hearted left that we've seen turning up at some of these protests, well, I'm going to play you a clip now of our very own Sophie Reaper, our reporter. You might not have seen this yet. She was out at a protest, I think it was in Altrincham, and she was basically attacked by some of the Stand Up to Racism lot. I think we can play the clip.
I'm just being harangued here. Oh dear, it's become... I'm just going to get on the other side of the police line, Michelle. The police have...
your side.
Excuse me, what do you mean? What do you mean our side, sir? Whoa, ow! I've just... Michelle, I've just been hit by a placard on the head by one of these counter-protesters. We are just trying to give them the opportunity... Excuse me, ma'am. We are, of course, just trying to give them the opportunity to have their side.
Yeah, well, look, well done, Sophie, for staying calm and professional throughout, as she always does. I've watched that footage back. I've managed to identify the face of the man that did that, so good luck to him going forward. But, yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous, isn't it? The optics there of a bloke attacking a woman, which is quite ironic as well, given what a lot of the protesters are there to protest about that hotel full of young men that are maybe doing stuff at the local primary school. But anyway, just one more clip for you now, because I wanted to show, since I wrote this, the protests have kicked on. This is Portsmouth. All right, OK, I'll paint a picture of where we are at the moment. Let's go now quickly to... Yes, there she is. I'll get out of your way, Sophie. To Sophie Reaper, our reporter who was there. Firstly, are you all right?
I am all right, Patrick. I think it came as a bit of a surprise. I was definitely a bit shaken up after it happened. And I have got a bit of a killer headache now, because what people might not have realised is from the front it was a placard, but from the back the gentleman hit me with the metal pole that was attached to his flag. So I think I'll be left with quite a lump tomorrow. But as I've said to you and so many of our wonderful viewers who've been in contact, I have spoken to Greater Manchester Police, because I don't feel it's appropriate for violence to ever be used, certainly against a female, but against anyone who's just trying to do their job. We were here at the protest. We spoke to the side who were anti the Migrant hotel behind us, so we felt it only right to then go over to the other side of the road, to cross that police barricade and try and speak to some of the counter-protesters. Now, you'll have heard in some of the clips people shouting and asking for my ID, asking for my press card, asking who we're from, and that's absolutely fine. But then it became violent, and that is not fine. That is where we all should be drawing the line. All just here trying to do our jobs, myself, my cameraman and our security. We were trying to let them have their side of the story, trying to let them have their point of view, as we should as a news organisation. But then a couple of people in amongst that felt it was appropriate to start attacking us, and we essentially had to leave that area to find safety, and that is never okay. But I am absolutely okay, and thank you to so many of our viewers for checking in on me. I promise I'm fine.
Oh, well, Sophie, thank you very, very much, and thank you for everything that you've done as well. Also, personally, a note to say thank you. I actually grew up 10 minutes away from that hotel, so that is a community that's very, very close to my heart. It's tremendous to see you there and kind of, look, trying to represent both sides of that. Of course, only one side wanted to talk to you, but look after yourself. Take care. All right, thank you very much to Sophie Reaper. Right, well, there we go. A little bit of a longer introduction than normal there. I thought it was important that we checked in with Sophie. I mean, look, I'm going to throw it to you, Christo, first. Do you kind of feel as though disorder is sadly a bit inevitable here?
Well, what's interesting there, isn't it, is that there's no better way than to really give the far right a kicking than to hit a woman with a pole. Yeah. I mean, it's like so stupid, isn't it, these people? The thing that I think is going on is that the people in Britain feel like they have been betrayed by successive governments. And I think especially on the subject of immigration, I think especially on the subject of asylum, but I think that, like any relationship, when you're in a relationship, you'll take so much if it's going wrong, and then you can't take any more. And what is unfair, and I think the perception that people come here and they get stuff for free, you know, when it comes to the numbers, it's actually quite small in comparison to legal migration, which is also a massive issue. But it's not about that. It's about the fairness, and it's about people feeling like they've had enough. And this is a culmination of so many different things that people are sick of. Yeah. And I think that it's amazing, and it's absolutely right that people are staying so restrained. But I'm telling you now, if that man had come near me with his pole and placard, he would be removing it from a part of himself now. Yeah. Because... I'm sorry. All right. That's outrageous.
OK, before I go to another one of my panel, has anyone got the microphone here? Who wants to ask a question? Does anyone want to ask a question or make a point on the asylum seeker hotel disruption that we've seen? If anyone does, you can put your hand up. But there we go. Gawain, I'll go to you on this now. What do you feel about... So, firstly, what we've seen there, but also whether or not you feel as though disorder is a bit inevitable.
Obviously, what we saw this afternoon in Altrincham was disgraceful, and it isn't acceptable in any way. It's attacking the media, it's attacking on freedom of speech and the ability to report. The fact that they'll talk to one side, but the other side complains that nobody listens to them, But when they ask their opinion, instead of giving it, they resort to violence. And this is, and by the way, it's the far right it's the right-wing protesters are the violent ones. That's rubbish. Time after time after time. They're there, they're peaceful, some hard left turn up, and that's when things kick off. So that is something we should be aware of, because sadly this government think there's only one lot of villains.
Yeah.
And there aren't.
I thought it was actually really quite funny as well that they kept asking Sophie Reaper for her credentials, whereas they were standing outside of a hotel full of blokes that had not shown any documents at all to live in Britain. I just thought it was hilarious. They care so much about that. Yeah.
She's got a microphone that says GBNews, and they said, "Who do you work for?"
Yeah.
How stupid are they?
Oh, yeah. Go on, Jane, and then Barry on this. Jane,
well, it was nice to see one of our Wolverhampton policemen in there. Obviously, I'm from Wolverhampton, which is a very peaceful, happy place. There is a protest outside a hotel in the city centre today. I don't think it's particularly big. Our Labour Council made us a city of sanctuary. I think the ground has shifted. That was about 10, 12 years ago. So I think the people of Wolverhampton are going to be asking some questions.
Could you
about
just
that.
explain to me what is a city of sanctuary? Because we see these popping up. I mean, Wales, bizarrely, turned itself into a country of sanctuary.
Well, there are also schools of sanctuary where kids are being told to write Valentine's cards to welcome refugees and asylum seekers. There is a limit. I mean, no one is saying don't be human and don't help some people, but there is mathematically a very sensible limit. And Wolverhampton is a fantastic city and I love it to bits, but it does have poverty, it has some social problems. I would say making a city of sanctuary is importing more social problems, and I think people have had enough.
Barry, what do you make of the fact that today it was like 14 locations? I think there's going to be some more tomorrow. And so far, from everything that we've seen, I'm sorry, but it does appear to be people on the left who have caused the trouble.
Well, look, first of all, Sophie is absolutely right. Violence is where we must all draw the line. That's the absolute here. We all believe in the right to protest. It doesn't matter whether you're protesting on the left or the right. You have the right to protest in this country as long as you do it peacefully, and that's what the police are there to enforce. Quite right. I don't agree with you in what you said that, you know, it's not the far right. We've seen violence on both sides, right? But wherever it is, it's wrong. We saw the attempt to burn down that hostel. That was far right violence. This was violence. It's wrong. I think, though, we all have a responsibility, and here I mean the media as well, Patrick, not to stir up anger and discontent, not to stoke that anger that is there. Christa was right when he talked about how angry people feel about the injustice, the unfairness, and I think that's absolutely right.
Is reporting the story stoking the anger?
Can I just finish? Reporting, it depends on how you report it, doesn't it? Because let's look at what Patrick said in the introduction there, OK? You said, what is it about the rape and abuse of local girls that they don't get? OK? Now, that tarred migrants with the rape and abuse of local girls.
I think dealing with some very specific cases, some alleged and some confirmed.
There have been specific cases.
Well, there have been more than some. You know, 1 in every 100 illegal migrants in those hotels is wanted for a crime or guilty of a crime. 1 in 100.
What I'm pointing out, Patrick, is the way in which you played that. And you said young men outside, are they not concerned about young men outside doing God knows what outside local primary schools?
Yeah, which has happened.
So, again, you've taken a specific instance that has happened and you generalised it to migrants. These are migrants and this is what migrants do. Now, you're right, it's what some migrants do, but what I'm saying is we have to be very careful about stoking that anger and that anti-migrant...
The problem is, though, Barry, that it's preventable. These people should not be here. And I think what we're seeing in the protests... I think these protests have started. It's grandmothers, it's mothers, it's concerned people who have genuine concerns, and I think it's mixed with the hopelessness because Keir Starmer is not going to make a jot of difference.
Let me just point out that your government, the Conservative government, in the last year, did not deport people from prison. They did not
actually, they blocked up the courts so that if you can't deport people until you've taken.
All right. But hang on. No. But can I ask you about Barry?
Speeded up the decision making.
All right.
The backlog has come.
Yeah, but where have they gone?
Okay. We know that. But Barry, you talk about you talk about stoking things up, right? And I think you've got a couple of fair points in there. Eventually. However, what I think, though, is I want to know what you think about the Labour Party, that local Labour Party then, brandishing those people protesting as far right, because isn't that the exact stoking as well on their side that you're accusing Patrick of?
Christo, you're absolutely right. Look, I think it's the responsibility of all of us, instead of seeking to identify ourselves, I stand here, somebody else saying I stand there, and then arguing the toss.
Someone's got to take a stand at some point, Barry.
But we've got to try and engage with each other, understand each other.
But are protesters far right, Barry? Are protesters far right? Are the protesters for this?
Of course.
But when Keir Starmer stood up last year,
anti-protesters are far left.
Barry, last year, Keir Starmer stood up, and when there was trouble last year, he brandished everybody far right before they were arrested, before they were taken to court, and therefore prejudiced every single court case.
Right. All right. Well, look. He
actually did. You're right. He did.
All right. Well, there we go. Well, look, we will continue to monitor those situations outside those hotels and anything that happens tomorrow as well. You know, and look, for the sake of just complete transparency, we obviously want everything to remain peaceful. However, I have absolute sympathy with people who say enough is enough and people who haven't been listened to for years and not had what they voted for. But anyway, up next, the Chancellor has warned that there's a £50 billion black hole now in the public finances, and without hiking taxes in the budget, apparently they are screwed. Does anyone here want to pay more tax?
No. Yay,
well, that's a shame, because you're about to.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
You've read the headlines, you've heard what those in power have to say. How about now we actually get to the truth?
They would pay attention.
We go beyond the political theatre and tell you what's really going on behind the scenes. For a massive council tax hike, one of the biggest in the UK. Others follow their lines, but we go off script.
You sound like a broken record. You say that week after week.
Cutting through the narratives and giving you unique perspectives. That's Ben Leo tonight, Saturdays and Sundays from 9 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, you didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we are proud to stand for you, for the Britain you love, for the communities you live in. That's what makes us the fearless champions of Britain. Its voices and its values. Because we, at GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
The
GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back, everybody, to my live studio audience show. And right now, there is a £50 billion black hole in the public accounts, apparently, which will have to be filled by either tax rises or spending cuts in the autumn. And we know which one is going to be, don't we? Because we're not going to get any spending cuts, I don't think. So experts are warning that the Chancellor is probably going to have to break some of her fiscal rules. And Keir Starmer has made his position on tax quite clear in the past, hasn't he? Let's look.
Determined to put money back in the pockets of working people.
We made an absolute commitment in relation to not raising tax on working people.
We will not raise tax on working people. No tax rises for income tax, for national insurance, for VAT.
We will not raise income tax.
Oh, he's not going to raise tax on working people, is he? So, but now though, when he was asked that question, listen closely to what he says here.
Some of the figures that have been put out are not figures that I recognise, but the budget won't be until later in the year, and that's why we'll have the forecast then, and we'll set out our plans.
Oh, not so cut and dry anymore, is it? That tax on working people. In the audience here, have we got any people who would class themselves as working people? Got a few? Yeah, that's good. OK, and there's a lady with her hand up there, actually, with the blonde hair, who I believe has a microphone rather handily. Where have you come from?
Aberdeen.
Aberdeen, all the way from Aberdeen. We'll give that round of applause. Thanks very much. What would you like to say on this issue of tax and the public finances?
So I'm a full-time working midwife, and every month I'm working class. I look at that payslip with dread. They gave us a pay rise about 6 months ago, so we're now all in the 40% bracket, but we get taxed, so we're even worse off. So every month I look at that and I think, what am I paying for? I don't have children, I don't have schools and dentists and whatever. So I know what I'm paying for. I'm paying for 10 male migrants in a 4-star hotel that even I can't afford to stay in. So please explain it to me, Barry.
Weren't you quite nervous? You said before, I was quite nervous about asking. Not now.
Well, it's only polite then. Go on, Barry.
You say you don't have children and they don't go to school, so you don't use that. You say that there are parts of society that don't use. Yeah, we all have that. But what we are paying for when we pay our tax is a civilised society in which you have an education system, in which you have a judicial system, in which you have all the benefits of society. And that's what taxation's about. Look, I don't in any way dispute that the Chancellor's got a heck of a job on her hands. So I'm happy to help her out. I know where we can do it without.
Go on quickly.
Okay. Taxes on online casinos. Gordon Brown came up with that one, 3.2 billion. Raise tax on oil and gas development in the North Sea to the global average, just the average the rest of the world do it. That's 14 billion.
We don't have any further development in the North Sea because the government's been fighting it down and stopping it.
Yeah, these are the figures, I'm sorry. Raise...
You can't tax something that's not happening again.
It is happening. The last government actually put out the new licences. So raise corporation tax by 1% would raise 3.6 billion. Land tax 2.25. 100,000
I'm not sure I'm
Mauritius £30 billion pounds to have the Chamber file.
41 billion here.
All right, Barry.
Recommend to the Chancellor.
We'll leave that there. Sorry, go on. What's wrong?
So I did say I'm from Aberdeen, North Sea.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know what the figures are, but it is like a ghost town up there at the moment because the North Sea work is not there.
It's a declining industry.
So,
you're absolutely right.
Only because you won't allow them to carry on.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No.
Deliberate decline.
Sorry.
Planned decline.
Let's get this clear. The North Sea basin is a declining basin. That means, like the coal reserves, they run out.
Do you remember peak oil? That was supposed to be 20 years ago.
I want to move
rubbish.
on. Just move on.
It's not rubbish.
It's rubbish.
About the tax.
If you allow them to explore, they'll find it, because it's there.
OK.
They have licensed the exploration, and that's what I'm saying should be taxed.
OK, fine. Right, let's deal with the fact that we are probably going to end up with more tax on working people, because as magnificent as Barry Gardner's figures some of them might have been, I don't think the Chancellor's going to listen to him. So... So tax rises, go on.
OK, so there was this apparent £22 billion black hole, which the Office of Budget Responsibility said was absolute nonsense, and there was about £9 billion which was sort of unaccounted for. But Rachel Reeves has made that into £50 billion. I mean, if this was a corporation, she would have been fired and probably, like, you know, deported as well. They would have actually managed a deportation. And now, at the moment, just off the top of my head, well, actually, I did it earlier, income tax, highest it's ever been. National insurance, well, employers are laying off staff like there is no tomorrow. VAT, 20%, council tax, fuel duty, capital gains tax, that's gone up already, meaning capital gains tax receipts have actually gone down. They're making less money from that. Stamp duty, air passenger duty, 9.4 billion on public sector pay rises, corporation tax, business rates. Where the hell else are they going to get any money from? I mean, actually, I'm going to take my shirt off. Do you want the shirt off? I'll take it off. No, I'm going to take it off.
Do you think it could be game over, seriously, for the Chancellor? If the Prime Minister goes back on what was a fundamental general election manifesto pledge, no taxes on working people, do you think it's game over?
Well, I think Rachel Reeves is so far out of her depth, it is unbelievable. I think, as Christo pointed out, if you trumpet an imaginary £22 billion black hole and then you get your own £50 billion one, and they've repeated it hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, she has sailed the country up the proverbial creek. She doesn't have a paddle. She doesn't have a clue. We are going to pay more tax. There are people I know who, are thinking of leaving the country. Millionaires have fled. We all have to make up the difference. They pay a huge proportion of income tax. I'm afraid I've never felt so bleak about our economy. Businesses are really genuinely struggling. The NI rise. You cannot say, I want growth, I want growth, then tax business into...
OK, fine. Let's just, very quickly, where's the microphone over to this lady on the front row here to make a quick point. Go on, sorry, you were responding to what Jane had to say there.
That's why she was crying 2 weeks ago. Absolutely breaking her heart.
Madam.
Yes.
And she could save 30 billion if she didn't sell, give the Chagos Islands away and pay Mauritius £30 billion.
We're going to have to go in a second, but I just want to ask you this, if you don't mind, right? Because we had a big discussion in this office, I think every newsroom did, when that footage came through of Rachel Reeves crying in the House of Commons, and for a lot of people initially it was like, OK, gosh, maybe we should feel sorry for this lady. But I'm not sure that's how the general public felt at that particular time. Did you feel sorry for her?
No, I didn't.
Well, why not?
I don't think it was a personal issue. I think something behind the scenes has gone on, which we aren't privy to. Because the state of her face at the time was not somebody who's just been crying. She'd been crying for a good few hours, I would think.
And just very finally on this, very quickly, Gawain, then, we're all supposed to now just forget that happened, aren't we? We've got to forget that happened in the House of Commons. We're not allowed to talk about it. We just have to cast it aside. But this is a lady who now has to get us out of a £50 billion black hole. Is she up to it?
I don't think she is. But I think what we've just seen, and so Barry's figures, maybe they're all right. Maybe they are. But what we're going to see is... And what we are seeing, with what you mentioned, is the introduction of, this is the Laffer curve. Yeah. You tax people more and you get less revenue. Because people do less. If you're going to tax them for doing stuff, they do less of it. If you tax people for working, they do less of it. And that is the basic result of what is going on now.
All right, we're going to move ourselves on. I've got a lot coming your way. Kemi Badenoch, turns out, it looks like she's an absolutely massive snitch, doesn't it? So we're going to talk about that. Can you vote for us now? He's shaking his head. He's going to go Team Kemi. Good, we like that. The few Labour Party scandals, and I have got the most ridiculous case for you of an asylum seeker non-deportation. Well, I was going to say ever, probably just this week, really. But anyway, before that, here's your chance to live mortgage or rent-free for a year. Yes, and you can get a bonus £5 grand as well. It's the Great British Giveaway. But don't don't worry if you've not got a mortgage or rent. Of course, you're not worried anyway if you don't have to pay a mortgage. But anyway, 15 grand you can win. Here's how you can be in it to win it.
This is your chance to live mortgage or rent-free for an entire year in the latest Great British Giveaway. That's right, we'll give you a cash lump sum that will cover 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, up to an incredible £20,000. Plus, we'll add £5,000 on top of that for you to treat yourself. And if you don't have a mortgage or rent to pay, lucky you, we'll give you £15,000 in cash instead. You have to hurry though, as lines will close on the 29th of August. For a chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
I hope we haven't forgotten anything.
Travel insurance, I tick that box.
Yeah, but remember what you forgot last year.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Looking ahead to tomorrow, and the weather across southern Europe is looking pretty dry for most places, albeit a bit of rain is pushing across Madeira. Meanwhile, for Spain, Portugal and even France, the heat is continuing to build, so temperatures for some could be getting into the high 30s, maybe even low 40s through the weekend. Meanwhile, across parts of Italy, Greece, even into Turkey, lots of dry and hot weather here, and that's how the outlook is looking as well, staying largely sunny.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hi there, welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. The next 24 hours will be very mixed across the UK, clear with light winds in the south, whilst rain pushes into the far northwest, spreading southeastwards throughout much of Saturday. It's all tied in with this weather front, which is moving towards the northwest of Scotland during the evening, an area of low pressure bringing a strong breeze to the north and northwest of Scotland, as well as the heavy and persistent rain. Whilst it turns unsettled across parts of western and northern Scotland, as well as Northern Ireland overnight, it stays clear for southern Scotland, as well as much of England and Wales. Lighter winds towards the south, and with those light winds, it'll be a cool night with temperatures in some sheltered spots into the single figures. But a beautiful start to the weekend for England and Wales. For southeast Scotland as well, we'll see some early morning sunshine. Some sunshine reappearing at this stage for the northwest of Scotland, albeit with blustery showers moving in behind the main band of persistent rain. But if you're in Glasgow, Perth, Edinburgh, it is a wet start to the weekend. Some heavy rain and prolonged rain at that for the first couple of hours of the day. That's then clearing Northern Ireland. It's pushing into parts of northwest England, and it tends to trundle its way southwards, albeit slowly, before setting up shop across North Wales, northern England during the morning, and it basically stops there, with outbreaks of rain becoming more limited to drizzle over hills. It's a damp picture through North Wales and northern England. To the south of that, plenty of sunshine, mid-20s, feeling very warm indeed. It's going to turn hotter here over the next few days. To the north, it stays mixed with further showers for Scotland. And that's really the theme into Sunday as well. The north and west of Scotland seeing cloudy spells and some showers, not quite as heavy or as frequent as Saturday. Actually, a lot of fine and bright weather for Scotland on Sunday. Likewise for Northern Ireland, but the real heat is across England and Wales, where it turns increasingly hot into early next week. Temperatures reaching the low to mid-30s in places.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, you didn't say that, though.
It's
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Live studio audience, thank you very much everybody who has come this evening. Now, we've got a load on. Kemi Badenoch has done some quite odd media appearances recently. The one that's really been doing the rounds, though, over the last 24 hours is this.
It wasn't just the SWAT in the class. I was the person who would say that person is copying notes from the other person. I was the tattletale in the class, like getting people into trouble. I'd raise up my hand. I remember there was this extraordinary day. I was in, I must have been about 14 or 15, and I said, he's cheating. I stood up in the middle of the exam and I stood up and said, he's cheating. He's the one that's doing it. And that boy ended up getting expelled.
It's just ruined his life. It's just ruined his life. You don't know where that lad is now.
Ruined his own life.
He could be
cheating.
All right. Well, that is the leader of the Conservative Party, a woman who one day obviously wants to be Prime Minister, relishing in essentially being a snitch. Isn't there an old saying about snitches getting stitches? Or didn't Kemi think that this would make her more endearing? Her media appearances getting a little bit strange of late. The other thing in that interview, which was slightly bizarre, I think, was when she said that the reason she stopped believing in God was because of Joseph Fritzl, which I get is obviously, you know, a little bit mad. But, yeah, I don't know. I just find it... When I interviewed her, she said that... she said as well... I think, have we got a sort of that? Yeah, go on, don't take my word for it. Here it is.
I myself was never that religious, but I believed. In 2008, this story about Joseph Fritzl and his daughter, who was locked in a cellar for 24 years, that killed it. Because to have the beliefs have core tenets, and one of the things that was core to the belief was that God does not test you more than you can bear. And I thought to myself, no human being should have had to experience what this woman believed.
I mean, that in itself is obviously fair enough. I mean, one of the most horrific cases, but I think quite odd that you pinpoint that exact moment. There is, however, a lady on the front row who's come from Sunderland, so thank you very much for that. And you would like to make it... I think, are you sticking up for Kemi here, are you?
In a way, yes. It is so destroying when you have revised hard, worked hard, gone into exams and done everything by the book, and then you see people who are blatantly cheating. The lecturers, teachers see what they're doing, but they don't do anything. And it is a little bit soul destroying. In a way, it's on the other hand, I had a horse, she wasn't very good. She wasn't an expensive horse. And I used to take to the little local shows. And there was people coming with these professional horses, GE horses that had done professional round, and you could tell. And they would come and take the rosettes off the little kids. And it was like soul destroying because you've worked your hardest to get your horse to a certain point. Yeah. And then they come. But my biggest glory was, because I did... My biggest glory was, I went to a competition and my mum said, you can't go in, this man compete. And I said, Mum, you're letting the women down. Okay. So these men went in, jumped a perfect clear round. So there were three of us in the jump.
We are going to have to be quite quick here, I'm sorry. Yeah, go on.
Right, and I split the two men up. One came first, I came second, and the other man came third.
Sorry to rush you. This is a little bit pressed for time. Go on, Jane. So you are obviously a Conservative. What do you make of this Kemi Badenoch?
I think Kemi's being herself, and politicians can't win. We all say we don't want robotic, kind of, you know, soulless kind of personality voids of politicians. And she worked hard, as this lady said. If you work hard and someone's cheating, that would annoy you, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's the idea that she's almost revelling in the fact that the bloke got expelled, though. Which is
I was a prefect at school, and when somebody sneaked to me about something that had been going on, yes, I would have to take issue with the child, the junior who had done wrong, but I'd also punish the sneak. Because my attitude was... Yeah, because basically... No. It's the same with my children. It's the same with my children. Basically, always tattletelling. That's not a good thing. It's not a good thing to do. So therefore, basically, yes, OK, you've got to punish the wrongdoing. However, I wanted my children to be a team. In fact, a team against me. In order to work together, rather than sneak on each other, they should work together.
Wait till you need a care home. They will be, believe me. They will be.
I want them to work together and basically be a team.
One question.
Yep.
Did you beat children at your school?
No, but I was just old enough to be beaten myself, but I was just too young to get to do it myself. So
you look as if you might have enjoyed it.
No, I'd have hated it.
I don't know. I mean, there is a slight question, which, Christy, I do wonder if Kemi Badenoch is a little bit too weird to be Prime Minister.
No, I disagree. I think that this shows that we need politicians that stop caring about what people think. And what this says to me is that she is prepared to stand up in a room with people that will hate her and actually say, no, I'm going to do the right thing. And we can't have it both ways. We can't say that we get annoyed with all politicians U-turning all the time and annoyed that no one's got any ideological backbone, and then slag someone off who's prepared to go their own way.
Chris, I think that's a really fair point, because she was doing the right thing. What I didn't like was the fact that she was laughing about it when she said it. And that is a bit insane.
Just a tiny bit.
Look, sorry, we're going to have to press on because we're out of time on this section. I will come to you the next one, though. I don't want to run out of time for this, because there's a few Labour scandals knocking about. The Homelessness Minister taking a brief a little bit too literally, as well as a few others. Is Labour now the party of sleaze?
I could talk more about Kemi Badenoch.
I know you could. Let's go.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth.
Hello, everyone. Patrick Christys here.
I'm Michelle G. Britain's News Channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's News Channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's breakfast on GB News.
Watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power?
Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber.
Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics.
We'll see where this ruling takes us.
These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
You've read the headlines, you've heard what those in power have to say. How about now we actually get to the truth?
They would pay attention.
We go beyond the political theatre and tell you what's really going on behind the scenes. For a massive council tax hike, one of the biggest in the UK. Others follow their lines, but we go off script.
You sound like a broken record, you say that week after week.
Cutting through the narratives and giving you unique perspectives. That's Ben Leo tonight, Saturdays and Sundays from 9 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back, everybody. everybody, to Patrick Christys tonight. Now, Labour has had another bad week. The Homelessness Minister, now former Homelessness Minister, Rushanara Ali, has resigned following allegations that she evicted some tenants from her properties before quickly hiking up the rents. She resigned yesterday. A list of Labour scandals that have been plaguing Sir Keir Starmer since taking office just 13 months ago. And I've handily got a little list here. Taylor Swift freebie gate, remember that? 10 Labour MPs, including Sir Keir Starmer and Yvette Cooper, West treating Bridget Phillipson. They're involved in that. Penthouse gate, Lord Ali's pad, Rachel Reeves' CV scandal, Anti-Corruption Minister Tulip Siddique's resignation. What she wanted for in Bangladesh again? Oh, yeah, anyway. Health Minister resignation, that was Andrew Gwynn, sacked for saying in a WhatsApp group that he hoped a pensioner who didn't vote Labour would die. Jonathan Reynolds' CV embellishment. Angela Rayner's contradictory career claims. Lucy Powell's dog whistle apology, saying that people who were involved in the rape gangs, sorry, not involved in the rape gangs, criticising the rape gangs were dog whistling. And, of course, now we've got the Homelessness Minister who has gone. So do we think Labour is the party of sleaze? Christo, your views on some of these scandals?
Well, I'm going to concentrate on the latest one, this sort of Homelessness Minister who, well, made her tenants homeless, which was quite interesting that she did that. I think that as a landlord, you should be able, when a tenancy ends, to tell tenants that they are no longer going to be in the house, right? Now, this government wants to stop a landlord having the freedom to be able to do that. So this just goes to show that we have a government that will happily take away your freedoms whilst exercising them themselves. It's so hypocritical, and it shows just how utterly moronic that policy is, because if you own a house, it's your house, you can do with it what you like.
Yeah, well, go on. Oh, go on. Your view. Been accused of being a hypocrite as a lady on the front row. Enjoyed that. Do you want to make a point on it or not? No. Go. Shall I get you the microphone? No. Okay. Fair.
I didn't like it that much.
I entirely agree. She has the right to do as she will with her property. She is the home owner. She is the property owner. But to then be the face of banning that from everybody else stinks.
Outrageous.
She knew she'd done that when she took that job.
And then gave interviews saying about how renters are being exploited by evil landlords. Yet another thing that this government's saying.
It's microphone. Well, go on, we're trying to keep it relatively brief if you can. Go on.
My thoughts, this Labour government are full of lies, and I bring it to a couple of points. When the candidates are being fielded for election, I link to the competency test, which a party or something has said that MPs need to should have a competency check, but also it links back to Kemi's interview. She was honest and had integrity. Where is the honesty and integrity in Labour?
OK, go on, Barry. So loads of scandals.
Nothing to see.
No, of course I wouldn't say that. You're absolutely right. Integrity is essential. And it is very difficult for anyone to justify doing something which they're passing legislation to stop people from doing. Where I would disagree with Christo and Gawain is simply this. If you have a secure tenancy, that's actually, as somebody who's renting a property, that is something that's really important. It's your home, and you want to feel secure in it. And that's what the Renters Reform Act is seeking to do.
I get that, but sorry, it's a catalogue of different people who've got themselves into really hot water. I mean, if this was the Tories, right? This was the Tories, it'd be leading the 10 o'clock news and the BBC every flipping night, wouldn't it?
Oh, I don't think it's escaped their notice. But look, I'm not going to justify the unjustifiable, and you're absolutely right. Of course, there should be integrity, not just in politics, but in all walks of life.
All right.
Sadly, it's not always the case. And sadly, often people don't reflect on their own behaviour in a way that they should.
All right, sorry, we've only got about 30 seconds left, so I'll come to you first on the next topic, which is a good one. It's a good one because it is, I think, the most ridiculous story about an asylum seeker that we can't deport. And that, by the way, is a very competitive field, isn't it? So there we go. We're going to be talking about that. And a whole host more, as well as the Premier League apparently getting woke out of football. Not before time, so will there be any more taking the knee or wearing those rainbow armbands? Possibly not. Stay tuned.
Expect
warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hi there, welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. The next 24 hours will be very mixed across the UK, clear with light winds in the south, whilst rain pushes into the far northwest, spreading southeastwards throughout much of Saturday. It's all tied in with this weather front, which is moving towards the northwest of Scotland during the evening, an area of low pressure bringing a strong breeze to the north and northwest of Scotland, as well as the heavy and persistent rain. Whilst it turns unsettled across parts of western and northern Scotland, as well as Northern Ireland overnight, it stays clear for southern Scotland, as well as much of England and Wales. Lighter winds towards the south, and with those light winds, it'll be a cool night with temperatures in some sheltered spots into the single figures. But a beautiful start to the weekend for England and Wales. For southeast Scotland as well, we'll see some early morning sunshine. Some sunshine reappearing at this stage for the northwest of Scotland, albeit with blustery showers moving in behind the main band of persistent rain. But if you're in Glasgow, Perth, Edinburgh, it is a wet start to the weekend, so heavy rain and prolonged rain at that for the first couple of hours of the day. That's then clearing at Northern Ireland. It's pushing into parts of northwest England, and it tends to trundle its way southwards, albeit slowly, before setting up shop across North Wales, Northern England during the morning, and it basically stops there, with outbreaks of rain becoming more limited to drizzle over hills. It's a damp picture through North Wales and Northern England. To the south of that, plenty of sunshine, mid-20s, feeling very warm indeed. It's going to turn hotter here over the next few days. To the north, it stays mixed with further showers for Scotland. And that's really the theme into Sunday as well. The north and west of Scotland seeing cloudy spells and some showers, not quite as heavy or as frequent as Saturday. Actually, a lot of fine and bright weather for Scotland on Sunday. Likewise for Northern Ireland, but the real heat is across England and Wales, where it turns increasingly hot into early next week. Temperatures reaching the low to mid-30s in places.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Let us take on some of your financial stresses and pay your mortgage or rent for the next 12 months. We want to give you a cash lump sum equivalent to 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, up to an unbelievable £20,000. We'll also boost that by a further £5,000, so you really could have some fun in the coming year. For a chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world, but look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
This is Britain's newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Wow, good evening, everybody. Yes, hello again. Come on. Yes. Oh, thank you, lads. Good to see a few young faces in as well. Brilliant stuff. All right, well, it is 10 p.m. It's 10 p.m. Hello and welcome to our wonderful live studio audience. By the way, we've got someone from Australia, someone from France, someone from Sunderland. They've come from far and wide, but here's what's on tonight.
Women dressed in pink are now breaking free from the metal fencing and sitting in the road in Epping. Oh, this is a very, very powerful statement by the women of Epping.
Yeah, well, there you go. I mean, it's very difficult to call the women of Epping far right, isn't it? But they have very much had enough. There have been 14 protests at different migrant hotel locations this evening, and of course, this happened.
The police have... Your side. Excuse me. What do you mean? What do you mean our side, sir? Whoa! Ow! I've just...
Yes, well, that's our very own Sophie Reaper there, who was reporting from a migrant hotel in Greater Manchester when she was attacked by one of the very kind, lovely, fluffy Stand Up to Racism Brigade. There we go. Remember, they're the good guys. They're the good guys. Also tonight... Well, the big news of the week was this one-in, one-out deal. It's not a one-in, one-out deal with the French. But I've got probably the most ridiculous asylum seeker non-deportation story yet. Plus, should football ditch some of this woke guff, like the rainbow armbands, the rainbow laces, and...
Bro, to that hill, bro. To that hill. To that hill. I'd kill that hill. Yeah, you just... Oh, shush me.
It's just another day, another complete lunatic on public transport, isn't it? You see it every single day now. I'm sick of it. I'm sure you're all sick of it. But on my panel tonight, we've got former Tory MP Jane Stevenson. We have got the Labour MP for Brent West, Barry Gardner. Oh, I can't work out if there's more or less booze than last time. Anyway, we've got broadcasting royalty Christo Fufas. There you go. And former spokesman for Reform UK, Gawain Towler. All right, then, well, get ready, Britain. Here we go. Well, get ready, buckle up for the most ridiculous asylum seeker non-deportation story yet. Next.
Thank you very much indeed, Patrick. Good evening to you, Aaron Armstrong, here in the GB Newsroom. Donald Trump says he will meet with Vladimir Putin very shortly to discuss a ceasefire in Ukraine. The US president was speaking in the White House alongside the leaders of Azerbaijan and Armenia. He said, we're getting very close to a deal on Ukraine, adding there will be some swapping of territories to the betterment of both sides involved in a peace deal. He was asked about the location, which he did not give away, but said it would be pleasing to an awful lot of people. More on that as soon as we get it. Meanwhile, Israel has rejected international criticism of its plans to take control of Gaza City. His Defence Minister, Israel Katz, has hit back at countries he says condemn Israel's actions and threaten sanctions. Well, the proposal, which would displace around 1 million residents, is being seen as the first phase of a full takeover of the entire Strip. Meanwhile, the US ambassador to Israel has criticised Sir Keir Starmer after the Prime Minister said the move would only bring more bloodshed. Mike Huckabee has told Starmer to sit this one out. Germany has suspended military exports to Israel, which Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says is rewarding terrorism. The UN has convened an emergency meeting of the Security Council tomorrow. A 15-year-old boy has been found guilty of murdering another student at a school in Sheffield. Harvey Wilgoose, who was also 15, died after being stabbed in the heart with a hunting knife during a lunch break. The defendant, who can't be named because of his age, admitted manslaughter but denied murder, saying he snapped after a long period of bullying and does not recall the incident. Lawyers representing victims of sexual abuse in Rotherham have welcomed South Yorkshire Police stepping back from its investigation into alleged crimes of former officers. The National Crime Agency has agreed to lead the inquiry into the allegations which were being investigated by South Yorkshire Police, leading to criticism over a potential conflict of interest. 5 women who were abused as children by Rotherham grooming gangs have claimed they were also raped by police officers. So far, 3 former officers who worked for the force have been arrested. A 4-year-old boy who died after being hit by a bus outside hospital in Kent has been named by his mother as Zahir Jan. Zahir was hit by a single-decker stagecoach bus near the entrance to the A&E department yesterday. He had been visiting his grandmother. He was taken back inside the building where he was pronounced dead shortly after. His family have set up a memorial close to the hospital. Finally, astronaut Jim Lovell, the commander of the famous Apollo 13 mission, has died at the age of 97. He guided the failed spaceflight back to Earth after an attempt to land on the moon was aborted following an oxygen tank explosion. Now, the perilous voyage was made famous in the 1995 movie starring Tom Hanks as Jim Lovell, which included the famous "Houston, we have a problem" line. Now, that line was attributed to Lovell, but it was actually first said by crew member Jack Swigert. Lovell was supposed to have become the 5th man to walk on the moon, but never did set foot on the lunar surface. Those are your headlines. More from me at 11 o'clock.
Good evening, everybody. Hello and welcome to my wonderful live studio audience. People have come from far and wide to be here, so let's make it a great hour, shall we? The big news this week was the government's new illegal migrant deal with the French.
First migrants who arrived on small boat are now in detention. That is the first step to removing them to France.
They even produced a snazzy video showing that they say the first people being detained are here and sent to the removal centres. Sounds like the start of a warehouse rave more than anything, that, doesn't it, really? But now, this may be a start, and I do hope it works. I think we should all hope it works. If it stops the boats, then fantastic. But I have always said that unless we have mass deportations of people who are already here illegally, then it's not going to make much difference, is it? And I have also always said that we have a huge problem with the British legal system, ambulance-chasing human rights lawyers and, in my view, idiotic judges who make ludicrous decisions. And I can reveal now, for the first time, one of the most insane asylum stories that I think proves just that. A knifeman and convicted Class A drug dealer from Guinea has won the right to stay in Britain after judges ruled that he had, quote, socially integrated into our country. There you go. The Home Office has been trying to deport him for the last 18 years. By the way, I'll just warn you now, this gets worse with every single line, OK? So we're trying to deport him for the last 18 years. He arrived in Britain in March 2007 as what he claimed to be an unaccompanied child and then claim asylum. That claim was refused and the appeal was then dismissed. He then submitted another appeal. That was refused. We're now in 2011, by the way, just so we're across this. But we didn't deport him. He then committed a load more crimes. First one, he was jailed for possession of an offensive weapon. Secondly, he was jailed again for just under 3 years for 4 counts of possession with intent to supply Class A drugs. Third one, he then went to prison again for 32 weeks for possession of a blade. The Home Office then decided, we'll have another crack at this, all right? Let's try and get this guy out of here. We're now in 2018, right? Couldn't do it. He claimed that he couldn't be sent back to Guinea because back in 2007, he'd been treated badly by police at a protest over there. Well, that was then dismissed, so you think, right, finally, we're going to get rid of this crook. It gets even more mental, I'm afraid. The judge decided that he could stay now, after another appeal, on human rights grounds because he was, quote, socially and culturally integrated into the UK. And it would be difficult for him to reintegrate back in Guinea. Well, presumably because they don't have any drugs or knives over there. But a psychologist also said that he had a low risk of reoffending. Yeah, that was one of the core things. I know, how ridiculous is this? Seriously, how ridiculous is this? Exactly. Despite the repeated drug and knife offences, obviously. So the Home Office, right, here we go. They thought, right, come on, we'll have another crack at this, lads. We'll go again. We're going to appeal this decision. And I can now reveal that they have just lost that appeal. And the problem with this is that he's been awarded indefinite leave to remain. So he's just going to be here for... he could be here forever now. This is it. My point is this. It's all well and good saying that you're going to send a few people back to France every week. The only answer, though, is mass deportations of pretty much everyone who's come here illegally. We can't do that, can we, with these current human rights laws? So, now I've wound you all up. Let's go and talk about it here. I mean, Gawain, this is...
No, you're going to go Jane.
Oh, sorry, Jane. Jane, there you go. Chivalry is not dead. There you go. Jane, go on. What? I mean, this is nuts.
Absolutely ridiculous. It's the sort of thing that makes people extremely angry. If I went to live in another country, whatever country that is, I would presume my side of the bargain is to contribute to society, to abide by the laws of that country and to integrate and be respectful of the tradition. If you commit a crime, if I went and lived somewhere, I would expect to be deported immediately. You know, not returning a library book. This guy has done drugs offences, knife offences. He's a violent criminal. And it's crazy. The whole system needs ripping up and starting again. I don't know where judges are schooled and, you know, but it just is completely illogical to an average person.
Do people in this room think that maybe there is some kind of, like, left-wing bias in the judiciary? Is there a bit of a... It seems like we keep getting these kind of bonkers decisions, don't we? I don't think anyone... I could be wrong. I don't think anyone in this room would have allowed this guy to stay, would they? I mean, no.
But judges just do what the human rights law says. Well, and at the moment, it needs ripping up.
It turns out you can interpret that law any way you like by the looks of things. I mean, you just have to ask our Attorney General. But go on, Gawain, then we'll get Barry involved.
Looking at the tariffs this guy has got for a knife... Possession of a knife, 32 months. That's not possession of a knife. That's a hell of a lot more than that. So not only has he been breaking the law left, right and centre, but there are victims of his breaking the law. And how the devil must they feel that this hoon is allowed to stay here? And frankly, I don't care if he feels a bit uncomfortable back in Guinea. I really don't care. I feel uncomfortable him being here.
By the way, I will just say, look, it's an audience show. If anyone feels strongly that they'd like to make a point on all of this stuff, if someone else... Well, I don't get it. If someone hasn't spoken yet, it'll be great. But anyway, we can get the microphone to you in a second. Barry, have you got your head in your hands about this, or how do you feel about our friend from Guinea?
I mean, Jane, quite right, says it's a ridiculous situation. What's interesting to me is that for 14 years, the law wasn't changed. So, Jane, you know, there's a bit of blame to be cast.
Soon you're going to have to start an answer not blaming the Tories, Barry. You do know that. You're going to have to do that soon.
I did, Barry, want to leave the ECHR
you know
and
me
repeal
well
the Human
enough
Rights Act.
to know that I can be critical of my side as well. But the point that I would make here is that, in fact, look at what the Labour government has done. As opposed to the last Conservative government, 5,200 people who were in our prisons have now been deported under this Labour government. 5,200 in 1 year, right? That knocks into a cocked hat what was done in the last 14 years. Now, you talked about the one in, one out policy, and you're absolutely right, Patrick. That in itself is not a silver bullet. It's important, I think, and it's a good start because it's the first time that you've got cooperation between the French government and the British government that means that we can send people back to France. And what the gangs have always told the punters is, don't worry, once we get to the UK, they can never send you back.
Right.
And now we can. Now, 50 people is not going to make that difference.
No.
But what is going to happen is if you then expand that scheme, it begins to undermine what the gang masters are saying. And at the same time, if you then stop and crack down on the illegal working that is a draw factor here in the UK, then you begin...
There are certain flaws with this deal, though, and I don't know whether or not Christys would like to mention them, but of course...
I will, but I have to say, actually, I support this decision by the judge. And I'll tell you why. Because if you look at the amount of crime in the UK at the moment, being a convicted Class A drug dealer and a knifeman means you've integrated perfectly.
Absolutely, there is that.
I think he's socially integrated into the UK absolutely perfectly. I think he's going to fit right in. I think that the one-in, one-out deal... Look, OK, it's good they're trying something. Credit where it's due. And like you, I mean, it would be great if it worked.
I just want to stop.
But the problem is, though, that there are so many hurdles. For instance, I mean, I think we spoke about it a little bit earlier this week, that if France don't respond within 28 days of the request to take someone back, then that's it. They don't have to even consider taking them back. The people who might be sent back will still have the legal recourse to actually fight being able to be sent back. So that might not happen as well. So I think also as well that France don't need to tell us who is coming here too. And so there are all sorts of issues around this.
So as it currently stands, as far as I'm aware, there is nothing to say that we get these lads, and it is lads, that they come in on the boats, don't they? And we go, OK, you go to a detention centre, and then we deport 50 of them. I mean, the French could send us murderers and rapists without knowing. They could. They can.
No, I don't think that's actually correct, because what it's doing is it's setting up a route which is a safe and legal route. They will be screened as part of that. And also what happens is they have to have a connection with the UK. So, for example, if they have a family member who is...
The deal says, Barry, the deal says, sorry, but the deal says that the French have no obligation to give us the personal details about people because of GDPR.
Yeah, that was reported this week.
So...
Well, that's not my understanding.
OK, all right.
Well, could have negotiated to have women and children, or to have... But the French, it's not in the French...
Well, let's see what happens. I just want to bring this gentleman in here. Go on, sir. What would you like to say?
Yeah, my name's Eddie. I'd just like to say I don't believe this one-in, one-out scheme is going to work. I just can't see it's going to work. We don't want any in. We've had enough of these illegal migrants that are coming over, and I'll tell you this now. For every illegal migrant that comes into the country at the moment, and every boat that comes into this country bringing illegal migrants, it's a personal smack in the face to the British public. We've had enough, and all we're seeing is, on a daily basis, more and more coming in. Enough is enough. And you are going to see the protests... More protests.
Yeah. Okay.
You're going to see a lot more protests now.
Can I just respond to what you've said?
Yeah, I would.
Because the whole point of the scheme, and I agree with you, it may not work, but let's try it. And the whole point of the scheme is to swap the illegal migrants who've come here illegally, to send them back to France. We couldn't do that before. We can do that now. And in return, get people who have come through a safe and legal route.
Barry,
that's the point.
I understand that is the point. But I think you will find across the country, we don't want the illegal migrants either anymore.
Well, right.
We've had millions of them.
Yeah.
We're fed up with it. The Boris way, the lot. We want it to stop. And that's the general public opinion.
There has been, as this gentleman in the audience said, people have reached a limit now. The hotels, there are so many, just the population, the housing, people have had enough. I don't think this deal will work. And as with every other Labour deal, anyone can get a deal if you sign up to anything. So we could have said we will only have women and children.
Jane, is because for 14 years you didn't do the judicial decision.
Started in 2018.
That's why. Because if you don't take the decision, you can't deport them back. That's why we speeded up the appeals process to make sure that we empty the hotels and are deporting them.
OK, all right. Sir in the audience, just make a very short point, and then we're going to have to go. So what is it, quickly? quickly.
I do psychology and criminology at uni.
Yeah.
Where did the psychologist get his degree and doctorate? And from a psychological point of view, if you're exposed to violence when you're young, you are more prone to commit, not all the time, and likely re-offend. And for the judge to say he can stay here, did he take the British citizenship test?
Probably not. No, well done. Good series of good points. Well done, everyone. It's a lively start. We have got quite an interesting story coming your way, actually, because the Premier League are saying that they are basically distancing themselves from Stonewall, which was that... Yeah.
No more rainbow laces.
Wow. Well, it might not be as simple as that. But before all of that, I know why you're all here. It's the latest Great British Giveaway. It's your chance to live mortgage or rent-free, kind of. And you can get a £5,000 bank bonus as well. And guess what? If you haven't got a mortgage or rent, lucky you, but you can still win 15 bags. Here's how.
This is your chance to live mortgage or rent-free for an entire year in the latest Great British Giveaway. That's right, we'll give you a cash lump sum that will cover 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, up to an incredible £20,000. Plus, we'll add £5,000 on top of that for you to treat yourself. And if you don't have a mortgage or rent to pay, lucky you, we'll give you £15,000 in cash instead. You have to hurry though, as lines will close on the 29th of August. For a chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
All right, good luck, everyone. Yeah, I wish you could hear what goes on in the brains here. It's fantastic. Anyway, coming up, the Premier League has cut ties with LGBTQ plus whatever else it is charity Stonewall, ending a decade of the Rainbow Laces campaign. Oh, well, never mind. Stay tuned.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Dan was one of the victims of the attack, and he was just, you know, within touching distance from the leading suicide bomber. And when that bomb went off, it killed 6 people.
It's still really surreal. It's still a kind of strange thought to realise that I was right in the middle of what happened that day. And even though it's 20 years, it still feels like yesterday.
Yeah.
The pain and the emotional torment that goes with that is just as fresh now as when it just happened.
Mm. And when you think back to that morning, because you've written a book about that day and your experience since, you actually were considering not going into work that day.
Yeah, my whole story of 7/7 is what I kind of term as sliding door moments. There's so many opportunities that were presented to me to do something different, or to stick to my normal routine and not step outside of that. And yeah, there's countless times where if I would have made a different decision, then I wouldn't have been on that train at that time. If I'd have got up on time, if I hadn't missed my stop, there's so many things that I can think back on and think, if I knew I've done this, if I knew I've done that, but it serves no purpose now because what's happened has happened.
You were horrendously injured, but people died on that bus that day.
Yeah, I mean, from the area of the train that I was on when the bomb went off, I'm the only one that survived. He killed everybody around me. And that's incredibly tough to live with, to know that you survived something that everybody around you didn't. And I was pretty much laying in and amongst dead bodies and body parts for about an hour and 40 minutes before I was taken out the tunnel.
And what do you remember about the murderer?
I think the most terrifying thing about it is just how calm he was. There was no fear, there was no hesitation, and the most scariest thing of all was he just looked like everybody else.
GB News. News, the People's Channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
The Premier League has cut ties with LGBTQ plus whatever else charity Stonewall. Now, it ends a decade of the Rainbow Laces campaign. May it rest in peace. The league says that it will run its own inclusion drive next February. But it comes amid growing rows over players refusing to take part. So what's interesting is happening is we are now getting more Muslim players in the Premier League, and it turns out that loads of them don't want anything to do with the LGBT stuff. And also, we've had the case of the devout Christian bloke who plays for Crystal Palace as well, who, he did wear the armband, but he wrote Jesus loves you on it, so there you go. I think we've got a little example, haven't we, now, of some of these things, so there we go. So, Manchester United... there was a plan to wear Pride-themed jackets, and it was scrapped after their player Mazraoui objected on religious grounds. He comes from the Muslim faith. Crystal Palace captain Mark Gay avoided action after writing, oh, there you go, I love Jesus, or Jesus loves you, I think it was, on his rainbow armband. Gay, yeah, I know.
That's
yeah.
ironic,
It sounds like you're taking a mick, doesn't it? You know, but anyway. And of course, lest we forget, Millwall Football Club fan booed. They booed Derby's Kevin Kazim Richards after he raised his fist as players took the knee. Yes, I do think I might be about to buy a season ticket at Millwall. But anyway, so, should we keep woke virtue signalling out of sports? Again, if you've got a point you'd like to make on this, get your hand in the air, we'll get the microphone to you. I don't know who to go first on this. Has anyone got a vested interest in the Rainbow Laces campaign?
I'm a season ticket holder at the Molyneux.
You are?
Of now, so, yeah.
Well, maybe that trumps the fact that Christo's gay. I don't know.
I think you'll find that I'm a little bit of an enigma with my sexuality, Anthony. You'll find wrapped in a confusion. Thank you.
I don't know. Go on. Is it not time we just booted this guff out of football? By the time you've taken the knee and done your Rainbow Laces campaign and then clapped someone you'd never heard of, who had a life you'd never heard of, then eventually play some football, you know, should we just get on with it?
I think terraces now are pretty inclusive places. Obviously, if there is a problem, if one of the Lionesses has had some racial abuse, that's a bad thing. And
of course,
football, I think most football crowds would sort it out themselves and kind of abuse the person who shouted abuse. But I think politics and football do not mix. I think we just want to enjoy the game.
Barry's got a glint in his eye like he's about to crack a joke. So I'm going to throw it over to you, Barry.
No, I'm not going to crack a joke.
Oh.
Look, sorry about that. I just think these things are fine when they're spontaneous, but if you try and organise them, you know, and if you try and force people to adopt, you know, a position of support, actually it loses its value, it loses its point. I think when the Black Lives Matter campaign started, I mean, we all saw the brutality of the police with their knee on that guy's neck. And,
in America?
In America, absolutely.
Not here?
No, but it was an important moment, and I think at that point, for people then to say, OK, fine, voluntarily, to go down, give the knee, that was a sign of support, fine. But if you institutionalise it, it loses its power as a symbol.
Go on, Chris.
Well, I mean, firstly, I would like to sincerely say that there are many Premier League footballers I would like to take the knee in front of. Because Black Lives Matter is important, and it's an important thing that we should be acknowledging.
And I had a glint in my eye.
Yes.
So that's something that means a lot to me. I think that I actually completely agree. In as much as when I don't mind if it's like a what?
You don't get this on question time, do you? This is it. Oh yeah.
Oh my God. I actually think if it's a once a year thing, right? I think it's nice. If it's a game and everyone says, right, we're going to do it for a game. I think picking up on your point, that's great. Or if it's an anti-racism thing and they're doing it for a game. But you're right. When it's every single week, it loses its meaning. But also, then what if you forget it to wear it one week? Are you then like, oh, I'm homophobic this week because I've not worn them?
I think there's a couple of aspects to this, aren't there? Which is that, so the distance themselves from Stonewall. Stonewall's a very controversial charity that has got a pretty checkered past when it comes to things, especially involving children who might be trans or whatever they would say they are. I think that's a bit ropey, that. Also, I do think the thing that they will never tell you, they will never say this, is that we are getting more and more Muslim players in the Premier League, which is a good thing. Football's getting better all around the world, and we see that. And they are not having any of this. They're not having it. And so teams are having to be put in a position where, like Manchester United were, where they've got a bloke there who's like, I am not going out on the pitch wearing this. And the whole team goes, all right, well, fine then. But that's going to happen more and more and more. And they don't want to highlight that, so they thought, we'll just scrap the Stonewalls.
There's that. Again, actually, I agree with you entirely. Mandates are daft. But if somebody personally feels powerfully about something, they should be allowed to. You know what? You can't ban rainbow laces. If somebody wants to wear rainbow laces, carry on, do it. No problem at all. But the mandate's the problem. You must think this way. And it's a problem from all sides of the political spectrum. All attitudes. You have to think this way. No.
Because forced support.
I didn't say anything.
So, you know, if you whisper it, it still goes out and sell it, right?
Can I just... I think there's one area where I do think, you know, because you've painted this as woke in sport. I mean, many of us are of an age that will remember what happened in South Africa and the way in which the sporting boycott of South Africa did play a significant role in ending the apartheid regime. And that was something that Nelson Mandela, when he came to this country, said that it had played that significant role. So I think it's not that, you know, wokery and sport don't mix.
There's a counter-argument, though.
Well, sure.
A counter thing. I have stopped wearing poppies until the 11th of November. I will buy them, but I won't wear them because there's this mandate demand. Everybody says you must wear a poppy. I've been into the studios before, in the BBC studios. Why aren't you wearing a poppy? Because I don't have to. That's why they died. And so
the
this
most
mandate
surprising part of that is you've been in a BBC studio, to be honest.
I was cleaning. But the point is, these mandates come from different directions, and they're all wrong.
All right. One thing I do like, you watch Match of the Day, OK, which is going to be better now because Gary Lineker's not going to be on it, but you watch Match of the Day, at the start of every single highlight package of every single game, pretty much, it'll start and then they'll go, they'll show the players taking the knee, and then if you notice, they'll dull the crowd noises, right? And then the commentator will go, and everyone in the stadium's cheering now to celebrate the end of racism everywhere around the world. Go, why have you done the crowd noises then if they're all cheering? I'm not sure. I think you've got rid of the boos, haven't you? But anyway... right, coming up, so one advert went absolutely viral, which was highlighting things like the cost of living, strikes, and all of that stuff in Britain. We're going to play you that. But there's been a few other bits and bobs that have happened. I've got some footage for you of several people being complete and utter lunatics on public transport, and I think this is something we all face, and I've had enough of it, so stay tuned.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
Looking ahead to tomorrow, and the weather across southern Europe is looking pretty dry for most places, albeit a bit of rain is pushing across Madeira. Meanwhile, for Spain, Portugal and even France, the heat is continuing to build, so temperatures for some could be getting into the high 30s, maybe even low 40s through the weekend. Meanwhile, across parts of Italy, Greece, even into Turkey, lots of dry and hot weather here, and that's how the outlook is looking as well, staying largely sunny.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hi there, welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. The next 24 hours will be very mixed across the UK, clear with light winds in the south, whilst rain pushes into the far northwest, spreading southeastwards throughout much of Saturday. It's all tied in with this weather front, which is moving towards the northwest of Scotland during the evening, an area of low pressure bringing a strong breeze to the north and northwest of Scotland, as well as the heavy and persistent rain. Whilst it turns unsettled across parts of western and northern Scotland, as well as Northern Ireland overnight, it stays clear for southern Scotland, as well as much of England and Wales. Lighter winds towards the south, and with those light winds, it will be a cool night with temperatures in some sheltered spots into the single figures. But a beautiful start to the weekend for England and Wales. For southeast Scotland as well, we'll see some early morning sunshine. Some sunshine reappearing at this stage for the northwest of Scotland, albeit with blustery showers moving in behind the main band of persistent rain. But if you're in Glasgow, Perth, Edinburgh, it is a wet start to the weekend, so heavy rain and prolonged rain at that for the first couple of hours of the day. That's then clearing Northern Ireland. It's pushing into parts of northwest England, and it tends to trundle its way southwards, albeit slowly, before setting up shop across North Wales, northern England during the morning, and it basically stops there, with outbreaks of rain becoming more limited to drizzle over hills. It's a damp picture through North Wales and northern England. To the south of that, plenty of sunshine, mid-20s, feeling very warm indeed. It's going to turn hotter here over the next few days. To the north, it stays mixed with further showers for Scotland. And that's really the theme into Sunday as well. The north and west of Scotland seeing cloudy spells and some showers. Not quite as heavy or as frequent as Saturday. Actually, a lot of fine and bright weather for Scotland on Sunday. Likewise for Northern Ireland, but the real heat is across England and Wales, where it turns increasingly hot into early next week. Temperatures reaching the low to mid-30s in places.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
You've read the headlines, you've heard what those in power have to say. How about now we actually get to the truth?
They would pay attention.
We go beyond the political theatre and tell you what's really going on behind the scenes. For a massive council tax hike, one of the biggest in the UK. Others follow their lines, but we go off script.
You cannot have broken records, so that week after week.
Cutting through the narratives and giving you unique perspectives. That's Ben Leo tonight, Saturdays and Sundays from 9 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back, everybody. Just before we get stuck into this, can I say a massive thank you? We've got one bloke who's come all the way from Australia, Melbourne, to be here. Well done. I don't think she wants to be on the telly, but there's a lady from France in as well, so well done. Thank you very much. A little wave, all right. Sunderland, all sorts of places. So thank you. Aberdeen, of course, as well. So thank you very much, everybody who has come from far and wide. If you're sitting at home now, why couldn't you be bothered? Hey? What are you doing? Anyway, is Britain in decline? Earlier this week, a crypto firm released a video that highlights issues blighting this country, including things like the cost of living crisis, strikes, redundancies. Here it is.
We ain't got no troubles, no reason to complain. 'Cause here in great old Britain, we just love it when it rains.
Morning.
We're cosy here at home, even though it's not our own. But wait a few more years and who can say? Everything is just fine. Everything is grand. Your life can get no better when you're living by the letter in this pleasant land.
It goes on for a bit longer, but we can play it all, really, but there we go. Not only that, though, I kind of wondered whether or not we were in denial, really, about the actual state of crime. We have this new Mind the Grab thing in London, which I'm sure some of you have seen. You know, on Oxford Street, they've put this purple line across the pavement, haven't they, saying, you know, mind the grab. There you go, there it is. Yeah, watch out, we won't tackle the phone thieves, but you can help yourself by not standing too close to the pavement there, which is ridiculous. I mean, yeah, I mean, let's have a look at the stat show. Between 2019 and 2024, Westminster had 132,000 phone thefts. It's in Westminster alone. Camden, 50,000. Islington, 32,000. Chelsea and Kensington, more than 19,000. Apparently, a phone is nicked every 10 minutes. And the thing that gets me as well is it's not just stuff, it's stuff we have to put up with every single day. You get on public transport. The other day, I was on the tube and I was talking to a bloke and a man walked up behind him and just punched him in the back of the head and then started quoting random football scores because he was obviously having some kind of weird schizophrenic episode. But it's just like every day, isn't it? You get things like this.
Bro, to that hill, bro. To that hill. To that hill. I kill that hill. Yeah, you just
Oh, shush me. Just be quiet.
It's just kind of, you know, usual suspects sitting there, F the Jews, this, that and the... It's just, come on, every single day on public transport, something like this happens. Going, well, how do we sort out the degeneracy in Britain?
Where can you start? I mean, I don't think Britain is in the great decline that some people would like to portray it as. I really don't. There are many, many parts of our country that are absolutely wonderful and fine and great. And one can walk through the villages and towns of this country and not fear you're having your phone nicked. And I think we do get sometimes bogged down in the horror stories. We doom scroll our nation. And I think sometimes that's not the best way forward. In fact, if you carry on doing that, it'll never get better. You've actually got to think us up. But I do think that Coinbase thing, it was like sort of Mary Poppins on Mogadon. It was brilliant, and it was an excellent piece of advertising because they designed it just in order to not to be shown, and so therefore caused their fuss. And their audience doesn't watch TV anyhow; they get it all online anyhow. So it was perfectly done for them, and it was cynical but clever. But how do you turn it around? Stop actually believing that we are rubbish. Stop believing that everything about us is dreadful. Actually start believing we're OK. And sometimes, it was quite nice. You showed that guy on the tube.
Yeah.
Notice at the end of it, somebody said, stop it.
Yeah.
And then the other one, there was the fellow who stripped himself off.
Yeah.
He was bundled off by the guys on the tube.
Yeah.
And so there comes a point that we can't rely on the police to do everything for us. We have to stand up for our society.
But then you might get stabbed. This is the thing, isn't it? There's things I see every day where I kind of, want to get involved with, and I think, well, is it worth me taking...
Broken windows.
Is it worth me taking a machete to
Sort out the bottom. Sort out the little things. Sort out the little things. Concentrate on the little things. Do the Giuliani thing in New York. Do that stuff. And start to turn the country around.
Sometimes that comes from the state. That's the problem. And when the state... And I don't like a massive state. I don't like a state that's in all our lives. But the state does have some obligations. Their advert, I mean, I thought it was a documentary about some of the places that we've gone.
Do people sing in your life?
Yeah.
All the time?
Oh, my God, if life was a musical, I mean, I'd start now. But no, because, there are parts of the country that do look like they've got rubbish absolutely everywhere. You do see people, when they walk through the barriers on public transport, and the staff just stand there. Yeah. So that is the people in authority not doing the job that they are supposed to do, and that is the broken windows theory, where then everyone around says, well, then what's the point in us having to behave with decorum or follow social rules, because actually the state doesn't bother anymore. That's the problem.
No, I think, and well done, Robert Jenrick highlighting fare dodging. They've increased the prosecutions.
And Alex Wilson.
Then everyone has a go at Robert Jenrick.
It's funny you should say that, Jade. I promise you we didn't actually plan this. You're right. So they've 55% up is the... Since Robert Jenrick did that video of him chasing people who were dodging fares, the fines for fare dodgers have gone up 55%. Well, I reached out to Robert Jenrick on this a little bit earlier today, and he wanted to give a message to everyone in this studio and the GBNews viewers and listeners. So I think we can hear a bit from Rob now.
Patrick, well, isn't it good to see enforcement against fare dodgers finally increase? The law-abiding and fare-paying public, I think, are absolutely sick of rule breakers getting away with it with impunity. And doesn't it also show what can happen when Sadiq Khan actually pays attention? I think we've shamed the Mayor of London into doing something for the first time in a long while. Now let's see him go after the mobile phone thefts, the shoplifting, the violent crime that's making many, many people's lives miserable and dragging down this great capital city of ours in London. London deserves so much better. We can make this city and the whole country safe again.
All right, so that was Robert Jenrick, the Shadow Justice Minister. Can I throw it to the gentleman here, please? Thank you very much. What would you like to say on this degeneracy issue or crime issue, however you want to phrase it? Go on.
It's a really amazing word to hear on a news channel, degeneracy. But I think COVID dislodged behavioural norms in this country. And just to go back to the woke stuff you were talking about, we're all being regimented and brainwashed and gaslit to hell, it seems to me. And I'm afraid this is going to sound like a bit of a sort of a sledgehammer to crack a nut.
There we go.
But GB News presenters occasionally make these sort of off-the-cuff references that there's some sort of plot by a dastardly cabal of globalists to sort of undermine the West and so on, Western Judeo-Christian values and so on. And I don't think J.D. Vance would have spoken quite so colourfully this recently when he talked about civilizational suicide in Europe. And King Charles launched the Great Reset in 2020, along with members of the World Economic Forum.
Right.
Why does no one name it? Why does no one talk about it?
Okay.
You know, the BBC, the mainstream media, you guys, you make oblique references to it, but you never name the Great Reset. It's just left to sort of float up there in the upper memosphere, if you like.
All right. Well, there's lots to unpack there, and we are obviously a little bit pressed for time. But thank you very much for making your point. Were you saying you wanted to come back on that? Or?
Not particularly. No. No.
All right, fair enough.
I don't actually know what it means. I don't know what the Great Reset is.
On this,
it was never explained. It's just it's a phrase.
Yeah.
It was never explained. What is it? Don't know.
It seems that macroeconomics, culturally, socially, maybe behaviourally, there's a sort of overhaul going on of Judeo-Christian values, it seems to me, top down. And you hear the word reset a lot, figuratively, but no one ever names the Great Reset. I've read the books, I've read the PDFs and the articles.
All right, well, you're right. There's the kind of thing that would probably merit its entire show, if not a docu-series. But thank you very much nonetheless. Barry, sorry, we haven't heard anything from you so far this segment. So there's kind of loose point that really... Are we into a bit of denial about Britain's decline, Barry?
Well, look, I think Goen and I are in danger of agreeing far too much on this show, because I agree with him. I want a bit of optimism about our country. I think we've got a brilliant country, and I think we should laud it a bit more than we do. And I totally agree with what you said, Goen, about the low-level crime. I was in my local police station this afternoon.
You have a police station? They don't have them in London anymore.
And it's staying open at front of house. But I was talking to the superintendent there and saying, look, it's the people who are cycling these electric bikes down the pavement. It's the people who are
enabled by the state that lets them do it.
The broken window
things
stuff,
that we need to get on and sort out.
All right, guys. Sorry, no, sorry. It's because I want to leave a little bit of time for Greatest Britain Union Jackass, which is what's coming up next. So stay tuned.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
What I want to talk about now, though, is a Christian street preacher who was shut down by London's Transport Police outside King's Cross Station. Now, she has exclusively spoken to GB News, claiming that Christians are being heavily persecuted in this country and that police are not doing this to other religious speakers. Shocking, indeed, if true. Well, are we living in this two-tier approach by the authorities that we hear so much about? I'm delighted to say I am joined now in the studio by that street preacher herself, Monique Bailey.
It is true that the police did tell us that you need a permit, so that is truth, but it's the way it was handled. She was very... It was just astonishing. I just couldn't believe how a police person could come against us like that. Like, we were abiding by the rules. And by the way, I didn't actually put the full clip on just to, in a way, save her, because it actually got worse.
OK.
Yeah.
Monique, can I just quickly ask, if you take a step back and look at Britain, you know, as a Christian, you see the demonstrations that we've had since October 7th, some would say pro-Hamas, anti-Israel demonstrations, pretty overt displays of anti-Semitism.
Yeah.
We've had the Lucy Connolly case. We've had, I would argue, clear evidence of a two-tier approach within our judicial legal system. Do you think that we are actually now entering a society where some groups, some religions are treated much more harshly than others? Do you think, for example, if you had been a Muslim preacher in King's Cross Station, the reaction would have been the same?
Yeah, of course, every religion gets something thrown at them, but I do think, of course, Christianity is the most persecuted, and I do think we will see it more.
GB News, the People's Channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show. It's not a bad brand. Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight on the
unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Welcome back, everybody, to the final segment of this wonderful live studio audience show. Barry Gardner's going to kick us off with Greatest Britain. Go on.
After 450 years, we finally have the first woman astronomer royal, Michelle Doherty.
What? Right. OK, well, sorry, I know we've got to pick up, but what is this? What woman astronomer
royal?
It's a role like an official, like poet laureate.
Like poet laureate?
No. This is one of the key scientific posts in the Royal Society.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
It's a huge achievement, and I think we should all cheer from the rafters. After 450 years,
fine.
A woman is...
There you go. All right, brilliant stuff. Go on, then,
I've gone back even further than Barry. My Greatest Britain is Ethelfled. And I'm sure everybody knows. This week saw the anniversary of the Battle of Woden'sfield, or Tetnall, depending on which side of Wolverhampton you're from. But Ethelfled united the armies.
We've got an Ethelfled flying in there.
Her marriage united Mercians and the armies of Wessex, and we didn't stop the spread of Danelaw. So if it hadn't been for her, we would all be having
the Lady of Mercia, a great woman.
In Lego factories.
The Lady of Mercia, she's a great woman.
Go on, Christo.
OK, I am going to go with internet viral sensation, the Ibiza's final boss, Jack Kay.
Room. He's in the room. Yeah.
Come on.
Oh, brilliant.
You don't look like him.
You've actually got I think that's an improvement.
It's a bit wonky.
Is it a bit wonky?
Good, actually. Go on.
All right.
Greatest Britain.
My one's... It's an odd one. I'm actually going to congratulate a politician for a party that is not my own, but I've got to congratulate Steve Baker, who really, really annoyed the Brexiteers when he became a Northern Ireland minister. And today, he has come out and said he made an absolute hash of what he did. It shouldn't have happened. And the way that his acts, and the acts of the last government that he was part of, drove Northern Ireland away from the UK, is a mistake. And well done him. It's very rarely a politician says, I got it wrong.
OK, all right, fair enough. So the winner, guys, do you want Steve Baker? Do you want the Ibiza final boss?
Oh, final boss, Ibiza.
I think it might be Ethelred and
Ethelfled.
Right, OK, well done, the Ibiza final boss. Right. Union Jackass time. We're going to have to be really quick. Barry.
Rupert Lowe, who reported Royal Marine Mike Bates, the solo Atlantic rower, and his team, who were training for a charity row from Land's End to John O'Groats, because he thought they were small boat people. The only trouble was It was off the coast of Great Yarmouth.
Yes, it
Does
was
he have
off.
no geographic sense at all?
It turned out to be charity rowers as well, didn't it, to be fair?
Yeah.
Go on then, Joan, very quick.
He did bung them £1,000, which is good. Mine is poor Roshanara Ali, who was struggling on her ministerial salary of £130,000, so treated her tenants so appallingly.
Right, go on, Christo.
I'm going to go for the Oxford Street retailers, Met Police, London Mayor, and Westminster Council, and Crime Stoppers for advocating those ridiculous purple lines where you can't get your phone out. Mind the grab, because we should be stopping phone thieves, not stopping our freedom.
Go on.
And mine is Kemi Badenoch for her chief snitch, sneak, and all the rest of it.
It split the room. Right, just shout the name of the person you want to win at me. No, pick
Rupert Lowe!
Christo's won, there we go. There's a lady who's come all the way from Aberdeen just to see Christo. She made it very clear. She said, I'm not here to see you, Patrick.
Let's go clubbing. Let's go clubbing after. Come on.
Thank you very much to my wonderful panel. Thank you to everyone in here, all of you, from Melbourne, Aberdeen, everywhere. Thank you. What a fantastic evening. I'll see you in a bit. Take care.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hi there, welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. The next 24 hours will be very mixed across the UK, clear with light winds in the south, whilst rain pushes into the far northwest, spreading southeastwards throughout much of Saturday. It's all tied in with this weather front, which is moving towards the northwest of Scotland during the evening. An area of low pressure bringing a strong breeze to the north and northwest of Scotland, as well as the heavy and persistent rain. Whilst it turns unsettled across parts of western and northern Scotland, as well as Northern Ireland overnight, it stays clear for southern Scotland, as well as much of England and Wales. Lighter winds towards the south, and with those light winds, it will be a cool night with temperatures in some sheltered spots into the single figures. But a beautiful start to the weekend for England and Wales. For southeast Scotland as well, we'll see some early morning sunshine. Some sunshine reappearing at this stage for the northwest of Scotland, albeit with blustery showers moving in behind the main band of persistent rain. But if you're in Glasgow, Perth, Edinburgh, it is a wet start to the weekend, so heavy rain and prolonged rain at that for the first couple of hours of the